Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of Back to Earth's Compost 101 Crash Course, the benefits of compost for all. In the last video, we talked about how compost benefits you. Today, we will look beyond your household, at the power that compost holds at a national, global scale, on what it can do for the general public, the environment as a whole, and for our future. This also goes to show you how expansive your actions can reach. You may think that household composting won't do much, but imagine if 20% of households around the world composted, or even 50%. For that to happen, we have to start now. What some seem to either forget or ignore is that what compost does for the health of the environment is reflected in our health. To think of those two things as mutually exclusive is not only ignorant, but a sure condemnation. Compost absorbs harmful gases from the air. It takes in methane and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, stores it into the soil to be used by plants and microbes instead of releasing it into the air. This process is called carbon sequestration. Similarly, compost prevents harmful gases from being released into the air. Since food waste is diverted from landfills, the emissions of methane and carbon dioxide gases are prevented. To give you some perspective, for every ton of grass clippings that end up in landfills, 2 tons of carbon dioxide are emitted. Now, I bet 2 things are going through your mind right now. 1, that's a lot of carbon dioxide, and 2, that you've never thought about where your grass clippings end up. Compost also improves soil quality. Although we covered this briefly in the last episode, the benefits of compost for you, we are going to expand upon it a bit more today to encompass a larger scale. In other words, in this episode, we will talk about what soil improvement means, agriculturally and ecologically. Possibly one of the most amazing things about it, compost can benefit so many different types of soil. When applied to sandy soil, compost makes it more compact. That way, less is taken up by the wind, and plants can effectively grow their roots. Likewise, when applied to clay-like soil, compost loosens it up. Enhancing the quality of soils is so important for farmers, whose entire lives revolve around a plentiful harvest. This is becoming more and more important, in fact, because by 2050, around 90% of Earth's soil could become depleted and unfertile. Farmers need to use compost so that their soil can not only grow stronger, healthier plants, but to prevent topsoil erosion and water runoff. Every 5 seconds, the equivalent of 1 soccer field of soil is eroded. And since we directly rely on what these farmers grow for our nourishment, there's no going around this issue. A common argument that companies and institutions use for not wanting to implement these sustainable systems is that they're too costly. However, not investing in these systems will cost more the longer we wait. In addition, transportation to landfills is very costly and extremely carbon intensive. And that's not all. When waste reaches landfills, it undergoes many actions and processes before final discard, such as sampling, analysis, and treatment. Hyperlocal composting programs would save waste management enormous amounts of money because an entire category of waste is eliminated. They will cut down on transportation to landfills, thus cutting down on costs and pollution. The creation of these programs would also create countless jobs. Compost can be used for so many environmental issues beyond that of landfills. For example, because it is such a rich soil amendment, compost can be utilized in reforestation efforts, wetland restoration, and habitat rehabilitation. Let's look more closely at reforestation. You may not know this, but tropical rainforests are incredibly difficult to grow back. The biomass of the soil, which means the abundance of organisms in a given amount of soil, is so poor. Fertilizers could not help in this situation, but compost, since it biologically alters the composition and structure of the soil, can be used for these goals. In all kinds of environmental rehabilitation work, compost would help introduce necessary nutrients and organisms to the soil so that plants can be replanted. Consequently, more and healthier plants mean more and healthier animals. Compost can also significantly make a difference with topsoil erosion. By strengthening and improving soil structure, soil won't be as susceptible to wind. This improvement will also help in reducing fertilizer runoff, especially when replacing fertilizers with compost. If you live in South Florida, you've seen the effects of this last point firsthand. The excessive use of fertilizers has led to immense fish kills on both sides of the coast. In the city of Miami, where the back2earth headquarters are located, we've seen these algae blooms in our very own Biscayne Bay, feeding off the fertilizer nutrients in the runoff. These blooms consume all the dissolved oxygen in the water, suffocating marine life. They also release toxins into the air, endangering non-marine life, including humans. On a brighter note, one of the best things about composting and the cause it represents is that it encompasses every single person on this planet. Unfortunately, the way in which and the degree to which we are exposed to environmental realities vary, especially regarding our socioeconomic status and our education. Not all of us understand the effects of a tsunami, a hurricane, or a wildfire because we've never experienced something close to it. The thing is, we all eat. We all produce food scraps, no matter who we are, where we live, how old we are. Compost has the power to humble all of us to the same level and hold us responsible for our actions. Thanks for watching!